The mysterious message: the Galactic Empire was a massive and powerful force in the galaxy. Known for its impressive technology and vast fleets, it had never faced serious threats or challenges. Their dominance seemed unshakable. The Empire's leaders, seated in their grand command center, believed their reign would last forever. Their space stations, planets, and starships were the envy of every civilization. One quiet morning, a strange message appeared on the Empire's main communication screen. It was a simple text, but it held a weight that made everyone in the command center stop and stare. The message read, "Attention Galactic Empire, this is a warning from Earth. If you do not comply with our demands, we will act. This is your only warning. Consider this carefully." The Empire's leaders were puzzled. Earth was a small, relatively unknown planet, and its inhabitants were not known for their advanced technology or military strength. The Empire had never taken them seriously, considering them a primitive species. Admiral Kor, one of the highest-ranking officials, frowned as he read the message. He was a tall, imposing figure known for his stern demeanor and unshakable confidence. "This must be a joke," he said, shaking his head. "Earth is nothing compared to us. Why would they think they can threaten us?" General Zara, the head of the Empire's military forces, leaned over to take a closer look at the message. Her sharp eyes narrowed in suspicion. "It's clearly a bluff," she said. "They're trying to scare us into submission. They must know we won't take this seriously." The Emperor himself, sitting on his grand throne, looked on with a mix of curiosity and disdain. He was a man of few words, but his presence commanded respect. "Ignore it," he said firmly. "We have better things to do than waste time on nonsense from a backward planet. Prepare for our next operations." Despite the Emperor's command, a few officers were uneasy. Lieutenant Auric, a young and ambitious officer, spoke up hesitantly. "Your Excellency, what if there is more to this message? What if Earth is not as insignificant as we think?" The Emperor's gaze fell on Auric, his eyes cold and calculating. "If Earth were a real threat, we would have heard about it long ago. Do not waste our time with such fears." The message was dismissed and forgotten as the Empire continued its routine activities. Little did they know, this seemingly trivial message was the start of something much larger. On Earth, a different kind of preparation was underway. In the heart of a bustling city on Earth, scientists and military leaders gathered in a high-tech command center. They were reading the same message that had appeared in the Galactic Empire's command center. Their faces were grave, but there was a determined glint in their eyes. Dr. Elena Roberts, a leading scientist, was at the forefront of this effort. She had spent years working on advanced technologies and military strategies. She stood tall and resolute as she addressed the room. "The Galactic Empire has underestimated us. We have advanced in ways they cannot imagine. We must show them that we are not to be taken lightly." General Mark Thompson, a seasoned military leader, nodded in agreement. "We have been preparing for a long time. Our technology is more advanced than they think. Now is the time to act." The humans were not only preparing their defenses, but also planning their strategy carefully. They had developed new weapons and tactics that the Empire had never encountered. Their technology, though not as widespread, was highly advanced and capable of surprising even the most formidable opponents. The message from Earth was not just a warning, but a declaration of readiness. Humans were not content to simply sit back and let the Empire's arrogance go unchecked. They were ready to fight if necessary, and they had the means to make a significant impact. Back in the Galactic Empire's command center, as days passed, the message was increasingly seen as an annoyance rather than a threat. The Empire's leaders were confident in their superiority and dismissed any concerns. They continued their plans, oblivious to the fact that Earth was not as powerless as they believed. In the quiet corners of the Empire's vast space, the hum of activity continued. Starships were prepared, fleets were organized, and strategies were devised for future conquests. The message from Earth was relegated to a minor footnote in the Empire's grand plans. But on Earth, every detail was being meticulously planned. Humans knew that their survival depended on proving their worth and their readiness. They were united in their determination to face whatever came their way. The stage was set for a confrontation between two very different worlds. The Galactic Empire, with its vast power and confidence, and Earth, with its hidden strengths and resolve. The warning had been sent, but the real story was only beginning. The Empire had yet to realize the true extent of humanity's capabilities and the seriousness of their warning. As the days turned into weeks, both sides continued their preparations. The Galactic Empire remained complacent, while Earth's determination grew stronger. The message had been delivered, and now the galaxy awaited the next move in this unfolding drama. Humans. Prepare on Earth. The message from the Galactic Empire was more than just a warning. It was a wake-up call. The human leaders took it seriously, knowing that they needed to be ready for whatever might come next. The world had been preparing for years, but now the urgency had increased. It was time to show the Empire that Earth was not to be underestimated. In a high-tech facility located deep underground, scientists and engineers worked around the clock. The facility was bustling with activity. Bright screens displayed complex data, and the air was filled with the hum of machinery. Dr. Elena Roberts, the lead scientist, was at the heart of the operation. Her team was finalizing a new kind of weapon that had been in development for years. Elena stood in front of a massive screen, her face illuminated by its glow. She reviewed the schematics of the new energy weapon. "This is our chance to prove ourselves," she said, her voice steady and determined. "The Galactic Empire thinks we're weak. They're about to find out just how wrong they are." Nearby, engineers worked on assembling the weapon. They wore focused expressions as they fitted together advanced components and tested various systems. Each piece of technology was designed to be more powerful and effective than anything the Empire might have seen. In another part of the facility, General Mark Thompson was busy coordinating the military's response. He was surrounded by maps and tactical displays that showed the positions of various military assets. His team of officers discussed strategies and plans with intense focus. "All right," General Thompson said, pointing to a map of the Empire's likely routes of attack. "We need to be prepared for any possible move they might make. Our new technology will give us an edge, but we also need smart strategies and well-trained soldiers." The general's team nodded in agreement. They were working on drills and training exercises to ensure that every soldier was prepared for the upcoming conflict. The new technology was impressive, but it was equally important that the humans knew how to use it effectively. Meanwhile, across the globe, the general public was also involved in the preparation. Governments and organizations had called for increased support and vigilance. People were urged to participate in defense drills and to stay informed about the situation. In cities and towns, citizens gathered in community centers for training sessions. Local leaders spoke about the importance of unity and readiness. The message was clear: every person had a role to play in defending their world. One such training session was held in a small town where Lisa and her friends were learning about basic survival skills. Lisa, a young teacher, was determined to contribute in any way she could. She practiced with a group of volunteers, learning how to use new safety equipment and how to respond to emergencies. "This is not just about fighting," Lisa said to her group. "It's about protecting our homes and families. We need to be ready to do whatever it takes." As the days passed, the humans' preparations continued to ramp up. The government established new alliances with other nations, sharing technology and resources. There was a strong sense of collaboration and solidarity among people from all walks of life. Everyone was focused on the common goal, showing the Galactic Empire that Earth was not to be taken lightly. In the underground facility, Elena's team made final adjustments to the weapon systems. They conducted simulations to test the effectiveness of their new technology. The simulations showed promising results, but the team knew that real-life situations were often unpredictable. Elena, one of the engineers, called out, "We've completed the final tests. The weapon systems are ready." Elena's eyes sparkled with determination. "Good. We need to be prepared for anything. Let's make sure every detail is perfect." The preparations were not limited to just technology and training. Humans were also focused on improving their communication and coordination. They established a central command center to oversee the entire effort. The center was equipped with the latest technology for tracking and responding to any developments. The message from the Galactic Empire had triggered a global response. From the highest levels of government to everyday citizens, everyone was working towards a common goal. There was a shared sense of purpose and determination that united people in their efforts. Back in the Galactic Empire's command center, the message from Earth had become a distant memory. The Empire's leaders continued with their plans, unaware of the extensive preparations happening on the other side of the galaxy. They underestimated the resolve and capability of humanity, believing that Earth's response would be insignificant. As the preparations continued on Earth, there was a growing confidence among the people. They knew that they had worked hard and made significant advancements. They were ready to face whatever challenge came their way. The stage was set for a confrontation between two very different worlds. The Galactic Empire, with its vast power and arrogance, and Earth, with its hidden strengths and newfound determination. The Empire had dismissed the warning as a bluff, but the humans were about to show that they were ready for anything. The preparations were complete, and the next steps would determine the outcome of this interstellar conflict. First Fight the Galactic Empire was in full swing with its plans for expansion and control, but little did they know that Earth was ready for the unexpected. After weeks of preparation and anticipation, the first confrontation between the two worlds was about to begin. In the vast emptiness of space, a Galactic Empire starship, the Horizon's Blade, cruised through the stars, its sleek design reflecting the light of distant suns. The crew aboard the ship was confident and relaxed. Their leader, Captain Varro, was known for his calm and collected demeanor. "Another day of routine patrol," Captain Varro said, leaning back in his chair. Nothing out of the ordinary. However, as the ship moved closer to the edge of the Empire's territory, a sudden alert broke the monotony. The sensors picked up an unidentified signal coming from near Earth. The signal was faint but persistent. "Captain, we're receiving a strange signal from that sector," said Lieutenant Kara, her voice tinged with curiosity. "It seems to be coming from the planet below." Captain Varro glanced at the screen. "Earth? That insignificant planet? It's probably just interference. Ignore it." But Lieutenant Kara was not convinced. "We should at least check it out. It could be something important." With a sigh, Captain Varro agreed. "Fine, set a course for Earth. Let's see what's going on." The Horizon's Blade changed course and approached Earth. As they drew nearer, they noticed a small fleet of human ships which had been secretly mobilized and positioned for just such an occasion. These ships were sleek and advanced, equipped with technology that the Empire had not seen before. On Earth, General Mark Thompson and his team watched the movements of the Galactic Empire ships on their screens. They knew the time had come. The moment of truth was upon them. "Prepare for engagement," General Thompson ordered. "This is our first real test. We need to show them that we're not to be taken lightly." The human fleet, led by the new advanced ships, moved into position. The Empire's ships were in for a surprise. The Earth's forces had developed new types of weapons and defense systems that were not only powerful but also highly precise. As the Galactic Empire ships approached, they began to see the human fleet in full view. The Empire's crew was surprised by the sheer number of ships and their advanced appearance. They hadn't expected Earth to have such a formidable defense. "Captain, the human fleet is moving into position," Lieutenant Kara said, her voice tense. They look ready for a fight. Captain Varro's expression hardened. "Prepare to engage. Let's see what they've got." The first shots were fired and the battle began. The human ships moved with surprising agility, their advanced technology allowing them to outmaneuver the larger, more cumbersome Empire ships. The Empire's weapons were powerful but lacked the precision and speed of the humans' new systems. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as the two fleets clashed. The Empire's ships fired broad, heavy blasts, while the human ships darted around, launching precise strikes that damaged key systems on the Empire's vessels. General Thompson's voice rang out over the communication lines. "Keep up the pressure! Focus on their weak points. We need to make them understand that this is not a fight they can win easily." The human forces, though outnumbered, used their new weapons effectively. The advanced energy weapons cut through the Empire's defenses, causing significant damage. The Empire's crew struggled to keep up with the rapid and coordinated attacks from the human fleet. Captain Varro was stunned by the effectiveness of the human weapons. "These weapons are unlike anything we've seen before," he said, frustration clear in his voice. "Adjust our tactics and focus on defending against their attacks." The battle continued to intensify. The Empire's ships were now on the defensive, trying to regroup and reassess their strategy. The human fleet, though smaller, was proving to be a serious challenge. The Empire's confidence began to wane as they faced the reality of the humans' capabilities. In the midst of the battle, a critical moment occurred. One of the Empire's flagship vessels, the Stellar Command, suffered a direct hit from a powerful energy beam. The ship's systems failed, and it began to drift, heavily damaged. The crew on the Stellar Command worked frantically to regain control, but it was clear that the damage was severe. The ship's communication system crackled to life with a desperate message. "We're losing control! Requesting immediate support." Captain Varro, watching the situation unfold, realized that the human fleet was not just a minor nuisance, but a serious threat. "We need to retreat," he said. "We cannot afford to lose any more ships." The order to retreat was given, and the Galactic Empire fleet began to withdraw. The humans watched as the Empire's ships pulled back, their retreat signaling the end of the first engagement. The battle had been fierce, but the humans had emerged victorious. On Earth, General Thompson and his team celebrated their hard-won victory. The battle had shown that they could stand up to the might of the Galactic Empire. They had proven their strength and resilience, sending a clear message that Earth was not to be underestimated. The Galactic Empire, meanwhile, was left to ponder the outcome of the battle. The first fight had been a wake-up call. The Empire's leaders now knew that Earth was a formidable opponent, and they would need to rethink their approach. As the human fleet returned to their bases, the sense of achievement was palpable. They had faced their first test and had come out on top. The conflict was far from over, but the humans had made their mark. The stage was set for a new chapter in the interstellar conflict, and both sides were now fully aware of the stakes. Battles intensify. After the surprising first battle, the conflict between Earth and the Galactic Empire escalated quickly. The initial clash had shown that humans were not as weak as the Empire had thought. Now both sides were preparing for a much larger confrontation. The Galactic Empire, shaken by their unexpected defeat, began to regroup. The High Command convened a meeting to reassess their strategy. The meeting room was filled with tension as the leaders discussed their next move. "Captain Varro, report," demanded Admiral Kor. His stern voice echoed in the room. "What went wrong in the first battle?" Captain Varro, looking tired but resolute, responded. "The humans' weapons and tactics were more advanced than we anticipated. They used their new technology effectively and forced us to retreat." Admiral Kor's eyes narrowed. "We underestimated them. We cannot afford to make the same mistake again. Prepare for a full-scale invasion. We will show them that their victory was only temporary." Meanwhile, on Earth, General Mark Thompson and his team were preparing for the Empire's next move. They knew that the first victory was only the beginning. The Empire would come back stronger, and the humans needed to be ready. In a secure command center, General Thompson and Dr. Elena Roberts reviewed the latest intelligence. The room was filled with screens and data, displaying information about the Empire's movements and new strategies. "General, the Empire is mobilizing its forces for a major attack," Dr. Roberts said, pointing to a screen. "They've increased their fleet and are targeting our main defense stations." General Thompson nodded, his expression serious. "We expected this. We need to strengthen our defenses and prepare for a larger engagement. Inform all units to be ready for the upcoming battle." The human military forces sprang into action. Soldiers trained harder, and engineers worked around the clock to upgrade their technology. The defense stations were reinforced, and new weapons were deployed to strategic locations. The Galactic Empire's invasion force moved towards Earth with determination. Their fleet, larger and more powerful than before, approached the planet. The Empire's ships were equipped with upgraded weapons and defenses, and their strategy was more refined. As the Empire's fleet entered Earth's orbit, the humans were ready. The defense stations and ships were in position, and the ground forces were prepared for any assault. The tension was palpable as both sides faced off in the vastness of space. The first wave of the Empire's attack began. Massive ships fired powerful energy blasts towards Earth's defense stations. The space around the planet lit up with the brilliance of the explosions. Human ships and defenses returned fire, creating a spectacular display of light and destruction. General Thompson watched the battle unfold from his command center. His eyes were fixed on the screens, tracking the movements of the enemy and coordinating the defense. "Keep the pressure on them," he ordered. "Target their weaker ships and aim for their engines." The human forces fought fiercely. Their ships darted around, evading the Empire's attacks and launching precise strikes. The upgraded weapons and new strategies proved effective, causing significant damage to the Empire's fleet. Admiral Kor, observing the battle from his command ship, was frustrated by the continued resistance. "Their defenses are holding up better than expected," he said. "Increase the intensity of the attack. We need to break through their lines." The Empire's ships fired relentlessly, their attacks growing more intense. Despite the overwhelming firepower, the humans remained resilient. They used their advanced technology to counter the Empire's assault, damaging key vessels and forcing the Empire to adjust their tactics. On the ground, the situation was just as intense. Cities and military bases were on high alert as the Empire's forces launched coordinated attacks. The human ground troops defended their positions with determination, using new weaponry and tactics to repel the invaders. Lisa and her team, working in a local command center, coordinated with the military to manage the ground defense. They faced challenges but remained focused on their mission. "Stay alert and follow the protocols," Lisa said to her team. "We need to protect our cities and support the military efforts." The battle raged on for hours. Both sides suffered heavy losses, and the outcome remained uncertain. The Empire's ships, though powerful, were struggling against the relentless defense from Earth. The human forces, though outnumbered, were proving their ability to fight back effectively. As the sun set on the battlefield, the intensity of the conflict showed no sign of easing. The Galactic Empire's assault continued, but the humans were not backing down. They fought with everything they had, determined to protect their world. In the midst of the chaos, a breakthrough occurred. The humans managed to disable one of the Empire's flagship vessels, the Eclipse. The ship drifted helplessly, its power systems failing. This was a significant blow to the Empire's morale. Admiral Kor, witnessing the damage to his fleet, realized that the battle was not going as planned. "We need to reassess our approach," he said, his voice tinged with concern. "Prepare for a strategic withdrawal if necessary." The battle showed no signs of ending soon. The Galactic Empire, despite their advanced technology and larger fleet, faced a determined and resourceful opponent. Earth's forces had proven their capability and resilience, and the conflict was far from over. As the night settled over the battlefield, both sides prepared for the next phase of the conflict. The Empire was regrouping and planning their next move, while the humans were readying themselves for whatever came next. The intensity of the battle had only increased, and the future of this interstellar conflict remained uncertain. Critical decision. The battle had reached a critical juncture. After days of fierce fighting, both Earth and the Galactic Empire were exhausted. The human defenders had held their ground, but the Galactic Empire was not ready to concede defeat. Tensions were high as both sides prepared for the next phase of the conflict. In the Galactic Empire's command ship, Admiral Kor paced back and forth, his mind racing with thoughts of how to turn the tide of the battle. The losses had been significant, and the human resistance was stronger than anticipated. "Admiral, we've lost several key ships and are running low on supplies," reported Lieutenant Kara, her face grim. "The humans are putting up a fierce defense." Admiral Kor's face was stern. "We need a new plan. If we continue with the current strategy, we risk losing the entire fleet. We must break through their defenses, but we need a decisive approach." In the command center on Earth, General Mark Thompson was grappling with the same issues. The continuous attacks had strained their resources, and the human forces were stretched thin. The recent victories were encouraging, but the Empire's relentless assault was taking its toll. "We've managed to hold them off so far," General Thompson said to his team, "but we need to make a critical decision. We can't keep this up forever. We must find a way to end this conflict on our terms." Dr. Elena Roberts, who had been working tirelessly on the new energy weapons, approached the general. "We've made significant advancements with our technology, but we're nearing our limit. We need to consider our next move carefully." General Thompson nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. What do you suggest? Elena took a deep breath. We have a new weapon that could potentially turn the tide in our favor. It's risky, but it might give us the edge we need. We can use it to target their command ship and disrupt their coordination. The idea was bold, but it was also fraught with risk. The weapon was powerful, but its effects were unpredictable. If it failed, it could put Earth's defenses in jeopardy. However, if it succeeded, it could cripple the Empire's ability to fight effectively. General Thompson weighed the options carefully. He knew that a decision needed to be made quickly. The Empire was not going to wait, and every moment counted. Prepare the new weapon, he finally said. We'll take the risk. We need to act now. The human forces quickly mobilized. The new weapon, known as the Pulse Disruptor, was readied for deployment. The team worked with precision, making final adjustments and ensuring that everything was in place. The Pulse Disruptor was a cutting-edge technology designed to disrupt energy systems and communications. As the weapon was prepared, the Galactic Empire continued its assault, unaware of the new threat looming over them. Admiral Kor's frustration was growing as his ship struggled to make significant progress. He had to make a decision to maintain the pressure or risk losing more ground. Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy readings from Earth, reported Lieutenant Kara. It seems they're deploying something new. Admiral Kor frowned, his concern evident. Increase our scans and be ready for anything. We need to be prepared for their new strategy. The human forces launched the Pulse Disruptor. The weapon was aimed at the Empire's command ship, the Imperial Sovereign. The energy beam fired from the weapon streaked through space, heading straight for its target. On the command ship, the crew noticed the approaching beam. Admiral, we've got an incoming energy pulse, one of the officers shouted. It's heading straight for us. Admiral Kor's eyes widened. Brace for impact! The Pulse Disruptor struck the Imperial Sovereign, and a massive explosion of energy engulfed the ship. The command ship's systems began to fail, and chaos erupted on board. The once formidable flagship was now crippled, its communications and control systems disrupted. The disruption had a cascading effect on the Empire's fleet. The once coordinated attack turned into disarray as the Empire's ships struggled to maintain communication and coordination. The human forces seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated counterattack. General Thompson, watching the events unfold from Earth's command center, felt a surge of hope. The Pulse Disruptor had worked. The Empire's fleet was in disarray, and the humans had the chance to press their advantage. Now is our chance, General Thompson said. Push forward and take out as many of their remaining ships as possible. We need to capitalize on this opportunity. The human fleet launched a series of precise strikes against the disoriented Empire ships. The tide of the battle had shifted, and the Empire's forces were now on the defensive. The humans pressed their advantage with determination, targeting key ships and systems. Admiral Kor, struggling to regain control, issued a retreat order. The Empire's ships began to withdraw, their once unwavering confidence replaced by frustration and defeat. The battle had taken a toll on their forces, and they needed to regroup. The humans watched as the Empire's fleet retreated from Earth's orbit. The victory was hard-earned, but it was a significant boost to morale. The Galactic Empire had been forced to reconsider their approach, and the humans had demonstrated their resilience and ingenuity. In the aftermath of the battle, General Thompson and his team reflected on the critical decision that had turned the tide. The Pulse Disruptor had proven to be a game-changer, but it had come with its risks. The victory was a testament to the strength and resourcefulness of humanity. The conflict was far from over, but the balance had shifted. Both sides knew that the coming days would be crucial in determining the outcome of the war. As the humans celebrated their hard-fought victory, they remained vigilant, knowing that the Galactic Empire would not give up easily. The stage was set for the next chapter in the conflict, and both sides prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. The battle had been intense, but the humans had proven their ability to stand up to the might of the Galactic Empire. The critical decision had been made, and its impact would shape the future of the interstellar conflict. Peace talks. After weeks of intense fighting, the Galactic Empire and Earth were both exhausted. The relentless battles had taken a heavy toll on both sides. Amid the smoke and destruction, a glimmer of hope emerged. The possibility of peace. The idea of negotiating a ceasefire and discussing terms for a settlement was now on the table. In the Galactic Empire's command ship, Admiral Kor was deep in thought. The recent battles had shown the Empire that Earth was a formidable opponent, and the cost of continued conflict was mounting. The High Command convened a meeting to discuss their next steps. "Admiral, the situation is untenable," said a senior advisor. "Our losses are severe, and our forces are stretched thin. Perhaps it's time to consider negotiations." Admiral Kor nodded, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. "I agree. We need to find a way to end this conflict. Initiate contact with Earth. We need to discuss terms for a ceasefire and potential peace talks." On Earth, General Mark Thompson and his team were also considering the prospect of peace. The recent victories had bolstered their position, but the cost of the conflict was high. The decision to enter into negotiations was not taken lightly. In the command center, General Thompson reviewed the latest reports with Dr. Elena Roberts. "The Empire has reached out for peace talks," General Thompson said. "It's an opportunity to end the fighting, but we need to be cautious. We must ensure that any agreement is in our best interest." Dr. Roberts nodded in agreement. "We should approach the talks with a clear understanding of our goals. We need to protect our interests while also seeking a lasting resolution to the conflict." The peace talks were scheduled to take place on a neutral space station, orbiting a distant planet far from the front lines. The station was chosen for its neutrality and secure communication facilities. Representatives from both sides would meet to discuss the terms of a ceasefire and potential peace agreement. The day of the talks arrived. General Thompson, Dr. Roberts, and their delegation boarded a human transport ship and set off for the space station. Their mood was one of cautious optimism. The possibility of ending the war was within reach, but the outcome of the negotiations was uncertain. As they arrived at the space station, they were greeted by the Empire's representatives. Admiral Kor and his team were present, ready to engage in discussions. The atmosphere was tense but respectful as both sides took their seats in the conference room. Admiral Kor opened the meeting. "We are here to discuss the terms for a ceasefire and explore the possibility of peace. Our recent battles have shown that continuing the conflict is not in our best interests. Let us find a way to resolve this." General Thompson responded, "We are willing to negotiate, but we must ensure that any agreement respects the sovereignty of Earth and provides security for our people. We cannot afford to make concessions that would undermine our position." The discussions began with both sides presenting their demands and concerns. The Empire sought to end the fighting and maintain some level of influence in the region, while Earth aimed for a complete cessation of hostilities and assurances of no future aggression. Throughout the talks, each side presented their arguments and counter-arguments. The negotiations were intense, with both parties standing firm on their key issues. The process was slow, but both sides were determined to find common ground. As the hours turned into days, the discussions continued. The representatives worked tirelessly to address the complex issues at hand. Compromises were proposed and debated, with both sides making concessions to reach a mutually acceptable resolution. One of the key issues was the establishment of a demilitarized zone to prevent future conflicts. Earth proposed a buffer zone around their territory, while the Empire suggested a mutual withdrawal of forces from contested areas. After lengthy negotiations, a preliminary agreement began to take shape. The terms included a ceasefire, the establishment of a demilitarized zone, and a commitment to peaceful coexistence. Both sides agreed to a process for monitoring and verifying compliance with the agreement. The final day of negotiations arrived, and a sense of anticipation filled the conference room. Admiral Kor and General Thompson met to finalize the terms of the agreement. The atmosphere was tense, but both leaders were determined to reach a resolution. "We have come a long way," Admiral Kor said. "This agreement represents a significant step towards ending the conflict. It is not perfect, but it is a foundation for peace." General Thompson agreed. "We have worked hard to ensure that this agreement protects our interests and provides a basis for a lasting resolution. We must remain vigilant to ensure that both sides honor their commitments." With the final terms agreed upon, the peace agreement was signed. The document marked the end of hostilities and the beginning of a new era of cooperation between Earth and the Galactic Empire. As the representatives left the space station, there was a sense of relief and cautious optimism. The war had taken a heavy toll, but the prospect of peace offered hope for a better future. Back on Earth, the news of the peace agreement was met with mixed emotions. The end of the conflict was celebrated, but the scars of war remained. General Thompson and his team reflected on the journey that had led to this moment and the challenges that lay ahead. The peace talks had been a critical turning point in the conflict. Both sides had made significant sacrifices and concessions to reach an agreement. The path to lasting peace would require continued effort and cooperation. But the signing of the agreement marked a hopeful new chapter in the relationship between Earth and the Galactic Empire. As the two sides began to implement the terms of the agreement, there was a sense of optimism for the future. The conflict had been intense, but the possibility of peace offered a new beginning. The journey towards rebuilding and reconciliation had begun, and both Earth and the Galactic Empire looked forward to a more peaceful and prosperous future. New beginnings with the peace agreement signed, Earth and the Galactic Empire entered a new phase in their history. The intense conflict that had dominated their lives for so long was over. Now, both sides faced the challenge of rebuilding and forging a new path forward. On Earth, General Mark Thompson and his team were busy managing the transition from war to peace. The command center, once filled with the sounds of battle, now buzzed with the activity of preparing for a new era. The focus had shifted from military strategy to diplomacy and reconstruction. General Thompson held a meeting with his top advisors and key personnel. The atmosphere was one of cautious optimism as they discussed the next steps. "We've accomplished a lot, but our work is far from over," he began. "We need to ensure that the peace agreement is implemented effectively and that we build strong relations with the Empire." Dr. Elena Roberts, who had been instrumental in developing new technologies during the conflict, addressed the group. "We must focus on rebuilding our infrastructure and strengthening our economy. The war has left its mark, and we need to invest in recovery and growth." As the human team worked on their plans, the Galactic Empire was also preparing for a new beginning. Admiral Core and his team were tasked with implementing the terms of the peace agreement and ensuring that their forces complied with the ceasefire. In the Empire's command ship, Admiral Core addressed his officers. "We have signed the peace agreement and committed to ending hostilities. Now we must focus on honoring our part of the deal. This is a chance to rebuild trust and establish a new relationship with Earth." Lieutenant Kara, who had been with Admiral Core throughout the conflict, spoke up. "Admiral, how do you propose we move forward? The Empire needs to demonstrate our commitment to peace." Admiral Core nodded. "We will start by withdrawing our forces from the demilitarized zone and assisting in the reconstruction efforts. We must show that we are sincere in our desire for a peaceful future." Both sides began to take concrete steps toward implementing the peace agreement. The demilitarized zone was established, and troops from both sides began withdrawing from the contested areas. The focus shifted to cooperation and rebuilding. Human and Galactic Empire representatives met regularly to oversee the implementation of the agreement. They worked together to address any issues and ensure that both sides adhered to the terms. The process was not without challenges, but the commitment to peace guided their efforts. In the weeks following the peace agreement, Earth saw a gradual return to normalcy. The cities that had been damaged during the conflict were being repaired, and the economy started to recover. The human population, though scarred by the war, began to look forward to a brighter future. General Thompson and Dr. Roberts continued their work, focusing on rebuilding and fostering positive relations with the Empire. They attended joint ceremonies and participated in diplomatic events aimed at strengthening the newfound peace. The Galactic Empire also experienced changes as they adjusted to the new reality. The withdrawal of troops and the shift towards peaceful relations required significant adjustments. The Empire's leadership worked to address the concerns of their people and demonstrate their commitment to peace. As the weeks turned into months, the impact of the peace agreement became more apparent. Both Earth and the Empire began to benefit from the cooperation and collaboration that followed. Trade agreements were established, and cultural exchanges took place. The once hostile relationship was evolving into one of mutual respect and understanding. One notable development was the establishment of a joint Earth Empire research initiative. Scientists and engineers from both sides worked together on projects that benefited both worlds. The collaboration led to advancements in technology and a deeper understanding of each other's cultures and needs. In a symbolic gesture of reconciliation, a grand ceremony was held to celebrate the new era of peace. The event was attended by representatives from both Earth and the Galactic Empire, including General Thompson and Admiral Core. The ceremony was a moment of reflection and celebration, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their shared history. General Thompson addressed the gathering. Today, we celebrate the end of conflict and the beginning of a new partnership. The road to peace was not easy, but it is a testament to our shared determination to build a better future. Let us move forward with hope and cooperation. Admiral Core also spoke, expressing his hopes for the future. We have faced many challenges, but we have come through them with a renewed commitment to peace. The collaboration between our worlds is a powerful example of what can be achieved when we work together. Here's to a future of prosperity and mutual respect. The ceremony was a turning point, solidifying the progress that had been made and reinforcing the commitment to a peaceful future. As the event concluded, there was a sense of optimism and excitement for what lay ahead. In the months and years that followed, Earth and the Galactic Empire continued to strengthen their relationship. The lessons learned from the conflict and the efforts to rebuild laid the foundation for a lasting peace. Both sides remained vigilant but hopeful, working together to ensure that the new era would be one of collaboration and growth. The transition from war to peace was not without its challenges, but it was a journey that brought both worlds closer together. The new beginnings marked a hopeful and promising future, where cooperation and understanding replaced conflict and mistrust. As Earth and the Galactic Empire embraced this new chapter, they looked forward to a future where they could achieve great things together.